Not a lot of people have been really talking about Ogbonnia Okoronkwo's role as a Rams outside linebacker. Previous to the last two, maybe three games, he was barely put on the field, mainly in like the fourth quarter or when we were beating teams by a good amount, or the game was already put away. So he'd come in for Dante Fowler, Clay Matthews, even Samson Ebukam. But ever since Clay Matthews has been injured and Ebukam hasn't really shown much as an outside linebacker, it has really given the spotlight to Ogbonnia Okoronkwo, someone that I expected them to be very, very good at the outside linebacker position. Someone that I knew that could come in as a fifth-round pick out of a 2018 draft, thinking for me he was more of a second-round talent, but he did have issues with his foot, and he did have, I would say speed-wise, he wasn't the fastest edge rusher, but he was very technically sound, and he was a physical specimen. He was a beast, man. Ogbonnia Okoronkwo is a mother-loving beast. So that's where I was expecting him to play in 2018. I thought he probably would have beat Ebukam by now in the roster, but it's starting to look like Ebukam's making his strides on this team. I like the way that he blitzes the quarterback on the outside. He doesn't get manhandled, but because of he's got like a certain bend to him. Like he's got a good bend as a outside pass rusher, and he's got good technique. But with his bend, he could be easily, thrown around sometimes, or he beats the lineman very, very fast, like really quick, to the point where you're like, man, this guy is an elite pass rusher. But then there's those times where he's basically, we got two Dante Fowlers basically. That's what we have right now. Samson Ebukam to me is more of a run-stopping outside linebacker trying to play as a pass rusher, but he's not really a pass rusher in my opinion. He's got very poor skills as a pass rusher. He's just kind of strong, kind of physical, but that's about as far as it goes for Ebukam. He doesn't have that twist, that twang that a lot of the outside linebackers have, like Dante Fowler. He's more of a cheaper version of Clay Matthews, but Clay Matthews is very good at certain moves, and he's strong. He's got decent speed, not the fastest guy, but he's strong. But you know what? Ebukam is a pretty good, quick guy, but he doesn't have the talent to be an outside pass rusher. He could be more of your defensive end on the outside, but he's not like a stand-up, I'm going to blitz a quarterback type of Von Miller type of guy. That's Ogbonnia Okoronkwo. He's not Von Miller-esque, but he's decent. He's a really good pass rusher. So the last two games, he's actually had 1.5 sacks. He's had a lot of QB. He's rushed the quarterback a couple times, but he's hurried the quarterback, and he's made even some physical contact with them to maybe throw them off their throw at times. Against the 49ers, he had a near sack, and I think versus the Browns, he also had a near sack. So he's been hinting at getting sacks, but he didn't get the sack, if that makes any sense. He's hurried the quarterback a couple times, like the same way Aaron Donald gets credited for QB hurries and stuff like that. Ogbonnia Okoronkwo has done a pretty good job of assisting in that aspect. So I've noticed that they've used Samson Ebukam into the first maybe two plays, and then on third down they would put Ogbonnia Okoronkwo to blitz the QB. I mean, that's a good way to utilize your roster, and I think that is the best thing for Ogbonnia Okoronkwo, especially coming back after not playing much last year or at all. At times Samson Ebukam does a good job, but he's been silent when he's on the field. He's got a couple of tackles for loss when it comes to the running game, and he's had a pretty good showing when what's in the red zone and they're trying to run the football. But when you're trying to blitz, you better use Ogbonnia Okoronkwo, dude. That guy is great. And I know that he hasn't played that much, so maybe that's why he hasn't had many sacks. But I do believe that Dante Fowler has about 6.5, and he's played most of the year, if not all the whole year, in most of the games, and hasn't been hurt. and he's got 6.5 to 7. And then Ogbonnia plays 2 games, and he's already have 1.5. So, I mean, you got to be patient with Ogbonnia Okoronkwo, but the dude is a baller, and he can play, man. That guy can blitz the quarterback. That's just my opinion. So, against the Steelers, so far from what I've seen, Clay Matthews is still one of those guys that's like day-to-day. He's barely starting to practice with the team again. So I don't expect him to come back for the Steelers game. So rest assured that we're going to see some Okoronkwo. So make sure to keep your eyes peeled open for Ogbonnia, because the dude is a fantastic pass rusher. We're going to need it against their O-line is pretty decent. I mean, the Steelers is pretty good. And then we're going to be playing teams like the Bears, who have a good offensive line, just a terrible quarterback. And the Ravens have a decent offensive line, but they have a good quarterback. I'll give Lamar Jackson some credit. He's been playing very well. So we're going to need an outside pass rush that can complement Aaron Donald in the interior and Michael Brockers. Because I've noticed they've been blitzing when we're trying to get after the quarterback on 3rd down or 4th down. They've been only using Aaron Donald and Brockers, sometimes Sebastian Joseph Day in the interior, and then Morgan Fox, who's come in and had a couple of tackles for loss, and I think half a sack. But the majority of the snaps, it's going to be Aaron Donald and Michael Brockers in the interior, and then Dante Fowler, and it was Clay Matthews until he was injured. But then we ended up putting Ogbonnia Okoronkwo in there, and he's actually done a fairly good job of getting after the QB. So let me know what you guys think. I like seeing Okoronkwo. I thought he was going to be a fantastic pass rusher. I see him as a Rams' future pass rusher starter, because we don't know what we'll get with Dante Fowler, if they'll end up paying him big money or they'll let him walk after this year. Clay Matthews is still under contract for 1 more year after this. Samson Ebukam, I think he has 1 more year after this, and then he's a free agent. So our edge rusher roster doesn't look that big, but I mean, Ogbonnia Okoronkwo for a 5th round pick has played very, very well. So let me know what you guys think. Until next time, you guys, go Rams.